Suspects bet on speed, while police rely on strategy. When a grappler locks the wheel, spike strips erase the advantage, and a PIT maneuver lands at the perfect moment. The escape can end within seconds. Watch it all unfold with FlashMoment.
Wherever these units are in front of me, get out of the way so I can use them.
What happens when the suspect understands exactly how police are trying to stop them? On the evening of May 24, 2025, in North Little Rock, Arkansas, a stolen Dodge Charger turned into a tactical battle between a fleeing driver and law enforcement.
Dave Road check me, I'm gonna try it again.
Officers didn't immediately activate their lights and sirens when they spotted the car. Instead, they followed discreetly, confirmed the Charger had in fact been reported stolen, and waited for additional units to get into position. When Trooper Hooper moved in with the Grappler, the suspect repeatedly hit the brakes to disrupt the timing, causing the first deployment to fail. At that point, the pursuit had become more than a test of speed. It was an attempt to counter the officer's tactics.
Still in the middle, I ain't speeding.
Some viewers may wonder why police didn't simply keep trying the Grappler, but once the Charger reached the interstate at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour, the situation had changed completely. The Arkansas State Police adjusted their strategy, took over the pursuit, and used a TVI to bring it to an end.
On the ground!
Amanda Standridge was ultimately taken into custody and transported for a medical evaluation before being booked into jail. The most remarkable part of this case wasn't how fast the Charger was. It was how seamlessly officers coordinated and adapted their tactics to bring the pursuit to a safe conclusion. The driver of the Opel may have believed that an empty road meant a better chance of getting away. But for police, light traffic can also create the perfect opportunity to bring a pursuit to a safe end. One of the biggest misconceptions about the pit maneuver is that once an officer gets into position, the maneuver is guaranteed to happen. In reality, a single steering input from the suspect can erase that opportunity in an instant. That's exactly what unfolded in Webster County, Georgia, on January 6, 2024. At speeds reaching 130 miles per hour, the driver of the Chevrolet Malibu repeatedly swerved whenever a patrol car moved into position for a PIT. Rather than forcing a maneuver that wasn't safe, troopers backed off multiple times and waited. It's the kind of decision that's easy to miss on dashcam footage, but it often determines how a pursuit ends.
10-4, we got rear tire down on the right side. We got front right tire down. We got 2 tires down. We're still rolling.
Some viewers may wonder why officers didn't simply keep attempting the PIT. The answer came with the spike strips. Once the Malibu's mobility was reduced, the entire situation changed. A maneuver that had been too risky just minutes earlier suddenly became a practical and controlled option.
Show me your goddamn hand! Give me a reason! Give me a reason! Give me a reason!
I'm not.
Shit.
Billy Dwayne Broughton II was ultimately taken into custody with a stolen firearm, marijuana, and multiple additional charges. In this pursuit, 130 miles per hour wasn't what decided the outcome. Knowing when to wait and when to act was.
Down. Stupid. All you gotta do. Now you used to work for Delta. Alright, you hurt, injured, any stupid shit like that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Roll over on your side. Americus, 1095. 1095. Notify you. Huh?
Hey, can you make sure I'm on the for somewhere that we are not hit? Yes. Copy.
A pursuit rarely goes exactly as planned. That's why the best pursuit teams never rely on a single way to end it. Thurston County deputies proved that on July 17, 2025, when a stolen vehicle fled at speeds reaching 130 miles per hour.
Received Ops 4 is going to be on a code 10 for county pursuit on Ops 4.
While the suspect weaved through traffic trying to hold on to the advantage, officers farther ahead were quietly preparing a different outcome. Spike strips were in place. The grappler was ready. From that point on, the pursuit wasn't about who was faster. It was about which tactic reached the suspect first.
We're doing we're passing 193rd Avenue right now. 80, I'm going to go for a grapple.
Fully PD, go for a grapple.
What makes this case especially interesting is that only one of those plans had to be used. The grappler ended the pursuit before the spike strips were ever needed, leaving the backup plan exactly what it was meant to be, a backup. In just a matter of seconds, the suspect's greatest advantage disappeared along with the ability to keep fleeing.
Do you guys want to go up on this side or that side? Yeah, let's go. Sorry, dude. We have another?
The driver was taken into custody without any further incident. Looking back, the real success wasn't simply a well-executed grappler deployment. It was the calm coordination between multiple units and their ability to let the right tactic take over at exactly the right moment.
They were also doing 1075.
Not every grappler deployment works on the first attempt. The pursuit in Thornton, Colorado on July 16, 2025 is a perfect example. After the initial deployment failed, Colorado State Patrol troopers stayed patient instead of immediately escalating to a PIT maneuver. The second attempt successfully took away the Ram's ability to flee, forcing the suspect to abandon the truck before being quickly taken into custody. Perhaps the Grappler's greatest advantage is that it gives officers another opportunity to stay with the same controlled tactic rather than forcing them to escalate to higher-risk intervention methods. On June 10, 2023, an illegal intersection takeover spiraled out of control when a pedestrian was struck and the vehicle responsible fled the scene. A grappler deployment locked onto the vehicle's rear wheel, bringing the escape attempt of two 17-year-old suspects to an end. Street takeovers often begin with reckless impulse, but they almost always end against the coordinated response of law enforcement. The biggest mistake many suspects make is believing that resisting law enforcement creates a path to escape. More often, it only leads to additional criminal charges and ends with a controlled arrest. On June 27, 2022, in Lonoke County, Arkansas, this was no longer just a stolen vehicle case. The moment the pickup truck slammed into a patrol car and kept going, the pursuit entered an entirely different phase. The deputy managed to get out of the cruiser just seconds before the impact. The patrol car did its job by blocking the roadway, but it paid the price. Even that wasn't enough to stop Trevor Strickland. As the pickup crushed through the wreckage and continued forward, officers were no longer dealing with a suspect who was simply fleeing. They were facing a heavy vehicle that still had the potential to cause another catastrophe. That's what made the next decision fundamentally different. According to investigators, officers fired at the truck's engine compartment in an effort to disable the vehicle, not to target the driver. At that point, the objective was no longer to wait for the suspect to stop on his own. It was to prevent the truck from remaining an immediate threat. Only after the engine lost power did the pursuit finally come to an end.
I'm on West on Carson from 15. You still rolling? Yeah, we're rolling at about 5 miles an hour.
Trevor Strickland was ultimately taken into custody without injury and later accepted a plea agreement that resulted in a 15-year prison sentence. If this case demonstrates anything, it's how quickly a pursuit can change. When the level of On May 11, 2023, in Atlanta, Georgia, a stolen Dodge Challenger Hellcat was already being quietly tracked by undercover officers and the Atlanta Police Aviation Unit before the Georgia State Patrol ever activated its lights. That was an advantage the suspect never saw. While the Hellcat ran red lights, drove the wrong way, and forced other motorists to take evasive action, the helicopter continuously updated its location, allowing ground units to focus on choosing the right moment to intervene instead of trying to match the car's speed. The turning point came after the Hellcat struck a median and barely regained control. Seeing the opportunity, the Georgia State Patrol immediately shifted from following to intervening, ending the pursuit before the suspect had a chance to accelerate away again. Sometimes, waiting just a few seconds too long is enough to lose the best opportunity. Both the driver and passenger bailed out and tried to escape on foot, but were quickly taken into custody. This pursuit highlights a simple formula. Aviation tracked from above, undercover units stayed with the suspect, and state troopers stepped in at exactly the right time. When those three pieces work together seamlessly, even a high-powered car has very few places left to run. A red Dodge Ram weaved through heavy traffic, turning a property theft pursuit into a public safety threat. On April 16, 2024, North Little Rock police chased the truck northbound on US 67/167 until Arkansas State Police Trooper M. Ledden took over, activating his lights and declaring, "I'm primary now."
Speed 62, traffic's light.
Ledden looked for an opening and attempted a tactical vehicle intervention. The maneuver sent the Dodge into a full 360-degree spin. For a second, it looked like the chase might be over, but the driver recovered and kept going.
Past Main Street. Coming into construction. Traffic's light.
Near the Gregory exit, traffic started closing in. The Dodge became boxed by vehicles ahead, leaving the driver with fewer options and more pressure. Then the situation changed fast.
80-mile light to moderate traffic ahead.
84 miles an hour light traffic.
Instead of stopping, the suspect rammed a civilian car while trying to force a way out. That was the turning point. Ledden moved in and pinned the truck, trying to cut off the escape before the danger spread any further. But even then, the driver still tried to break free. The opening finally came. The Dodge edged left, just enough. Ledden moved in and made contact again, forcing the truck off its line and killing its momentum.
Put your f***ing hands up now! Put your f***ing hands up! Climb out the f***ing window!
Within seconds, patrol units closed in from all sides. There was no space left, no path forward. The driver hesitated, and that was all it took.
Climb out of this fucking window right now!
I think I'm turning.
You'd have stopped the shit when that happened.
Officers moved fast, pulled him from the vehicle, and ended the pursuit right there. Inside the truck, officers found suspected narcotics, confirming this wasn't just a stolen vehicle, but a driver willing to risk everything to keep running.
Stupid ass motherfucker, man. Fucking is.
And on a highway full of everyday drivers, it only takes one reckless decision to turn a routine drive into something dangerous. In early January, dashcam footage from Moore, Oklahoma, revealed an undercover drug operation that suddenly turned into a dangerous pursuit. Officers were targeting Kayla Cervantes, a suspected fentanyl distributor. But the moment he realized police were closing in, the situation changed instantly.
40 west on Service Road, westbound. Okay, we're getting on 240 westbound. Westbound, we're up on Walker.
Do we have a vehicle description?
The exit on Walker, westbound, is a white Dodge Ram pickup. Southbound Walker. Southbound Walker.
He accelerated through intersections, cut into oncoming lanes, and pushed through parking areas with no clear pattern. That unpredictability made the chase especially dangerous. This was not just a suspect trying to escape. It was a moving public safety threat, with every turn creating a new risk for drivers nearby.
Now Johnny's still in the parking lot. Out to the service road. Officer going back. West on 240. Get her now, Barb. Keep you off now.
What stood out was the control shown by Moore police. Instead of rushing the stop, officers tracked his movements, kept communication tight, and waited for the right opening. Near I-240 and May, they executed a precise TVI maneuver, sending the vehicle onto its side and bringing the pursuit to a sudden stop. Wow! This is probably the most epic chase and PIT I have ever seen. 3 things are for sure. 1, he was desperate to escape. 2, he sure can drive. And 3, Officer Moore did a great job. Cervantes was taken into custody without further incident, and no officers or civilians were hurt.
Sector 1 headquarters show Lincoln 12 out of the city and reference the TVI, and all maintain supervisory control of the city.
On the morning of October 4th, 2023, the Indian River County Sheriff received an urgent call from the Jupiter Police Department about a serious stabbing. The suspect, 28-year-old Nicholas Parchesco, fled on I-95 northbound. Police immediately set up a roadblock, and RTCC used LPR cameras to track his vehicle. As information from the RTCC came through, ground deputies and the Hawk helicopter unit began coordinating seamlessly. Parchesco's vehicle was spotted weaving erratically through heavy traffic on I-95.
I believe he just tried to get sticks. He continued. He's on the outside lane.
With reckless intent, Parchesco accelerated and executed a series of dangerous maneuvers, escalating the pursuit to its most intense phase. Undeterred, sheriff's deputies employed a precise PIT maneuver to slow his vehicle. Nicholas David Parchesco was taken into custody at the scene and now faces a series of serious charges, including attempted murder, fleeing, and resisting law enforcement. He is being held at the Indian River County Jail with bail set at $100,000 solely for the charge of fleeing. On May 7th, 2024, in Columbus, Ohio, one flock camera alert turned into a full-scale police response. A stolen car linked to an earlier armed robbery was spotted, and Whitehall officers moved fast. But inside that vehicle were 2 teenage suspects who had no intention of stopping, turning an ordinary street into a fast-moving public safety threat. The first tactical challenge was control. The suspects made sudden turns, pushed through traffic, and forced officers to read the road second by second.
640.
Thank you.
Here for 604, here as well. Here around.
604 Channel 3.
Instead of rushing blindly, police kept pressure on the vehicle, coordinated with other units, and tried to keep the danger away from civilians. That kind of restraint is easy to miss, but it is exactly what keeps a chase from becoming even worse. Then came the second tactical moment. After multiple patrol cars were damaged and the suspects kept driving recklessly, officers had to decide when the risk of continuing became greater than the risk of stopping the car. That window finally opened, and one officer used a PIT maneuver to end the pursuit before the stolen car could reach another crowded intersection. The car crashed, both teenagers were arrested, and the tension finally broke. What makes this chase stand out is not just the speed or the damage, it is the controlled, tactical response under pressure, first containing the threat, then ending it decisively. The lesson is clear. In a high-speed pursuit, police are not just chasing, they are calculating every move to protect the public. The sirens may be silent, but the battle of strategy still lingers. If you enjoyed these intense police pursuit tactics, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next heart-pounding chase. See you next time.